What do you know? A bunch of huge freak out about Sword Art Online. I do watch this series, but what's interesting is the kind of freak out. SAO will become more politically correct due to Western actions, says Kawahara. And it's quite the interesting take that we got going on here. This is a report basically done off of Anime News Network's coverage a little bit, but they also go and quote directly from the website using the machine translation, which I pulled up right here. And we'll go ahead and go over the actual interview itself. But what is the interesting part that One Angry Gamer covers here is Karahara was then asked by voice actress Kayona what were his reasons for changing the way the girls would be depicted in Sword Art Online, and he responded by saying, due to feedback from overseas events and fan reactions, perhaps it's time to grow or become more politically correct to some extent. And the thing is actually when you look at this, it says it sees overseas events and fans' reactions are being feedback, and I think it is necessary to be conscious of political collectivity to a certain extent. Now, as I said, this is a machine translation. I think probably this was a little bit more cleaned up version right here, but I have to say it's not necessarily just because of that. The second season of Sword Art Online, which I think was called the ALO arc, which takes place in another game, was probably one of the worst things. It really sidelined some characters people wanted to see, but it came back in the following when you had the Gun Gal arc, and then you had the Yuki Asuna arc, which I think was referred to as the Mother's Rosary, where there was better character development, and it did feature more female protagonists in all that regard, but nonetheless, it was a shift in a better direction because we got to see more of the side characters that were involved with it. Now, I can say this much. I'm a little bit impartial on this, depending on who exactly why he's doing this. Let's finish up the quote here. We'll just read it from here because it flows a lot better. Presently overseas, the words hero and heroine aren't part of the dialect. Above all, protagonist antagonist is more of their style, completely unrelated to whether they're men or women. I felt that was a correct way of going about it. I tend to think that it's a distortion to treat the heroine, keep her heroine, like some sort of trophy. Recently, I made a deliberate conscious decision to write the young females actively participating more in the story. Well, that was actually part of one of his major problems. They weren't. You had these female characters that were just sort of sidelined. They were, I mean, pretty much just eye candy for the most part, and act as just a quick little side detour and stuff like that. Like with the girl with the dragon there, she could easily play more important thing, or the blacksmith chick. Could easily have played more active, but still they have their own strengths, and he just wasn't writing really well. Now, if he goes and adds more character development with these side characters that he brings in and gets them more fleshed out, I'm all for that. He's actually got quite a few female characters in there, and I want to see them have more character development and have a little bit more screen time, or at least novel time. In the case, that's what he writes is light novels, and then it gets adapted into manga and anime. Let's finish this up. So for those of you asking, well, that will be what will become of Kirito? And I suppose some people might think this is a supplement, but by no means does this mean Kirito will no longer stand out. For the young girls, I want to give them strength to take hold of their own lives. Now, with these last two paragraphs, I do agree with his statement. I want to see these characters take hold of their lives, be developed. But the question is it because of Western pushback? I suspect this statement has some truth right here, due to the fact that we have seen the social justice and political correctness crowd try to make huge pushes within it. And it is well known that Anime News Network here is very big on political correctness and social justice. And all we got to do is look at this same article covering, well, this article covering the same topic here, and just look at the this one paragraph here. First began writing. Oh wait, no, correction. This one here. Kara previously has spoken about his perceived flaws in his early writing. In December, he apologized for voice actors Tessa and Rondo for the rough experience they had voice acting victims of assault. He also explained that the overabundance of sexual assault has plot device in his writing due to his early influences as an author, and would rather not use rape to excuse catharsis nowadays. Well, here's the deal. Uh, I understand, yes, if it plays an important plot device, and it did in that specific context. I watched that episode, and I prefer it when Annie Blix releases it uncensored. I am really pissed off still. And Crunchyroll should have been pushing for the uncensored release on that one. But nonetheless, that's a different argument altogether. If it's part of the plot, if it's part of showing how much of a despicable, evil character someone is, and why they should have their justice brought down upon them, which was what was shown in that. It was already shown that those two characters that they're referring to in here that were doing the sexual assault deserved all that came to them for the most part. One of them ends up dying if you haven't seen it. I'm pretty sure most people that are watching this will have seen this episode. But the thing is if you are going to play a character that is going to have somewhat of a dark ending or dark traumatic stuff and sort of overcome that to become stronger, you got to take the good with the bad. I mean, you got to take the bad with the good. That's how it is. And I have nothing wrong with this kind of stuff if it's put in properly. When it came to the ALO arc, holy cow, that was poorly done, written in. There was way better ways of doing it, in my opinion. But how it came out is how it came out. I have no control over it. I can just criticize it for the most part. And if he's listening to people from like Anime News Network and these political correctness crowds, I'm probably not gonna not like where it's going. But another strong thing that is pointed out is right early on, he's looking at wanting to do more Yuri kind of stuff. He even refers to they have Yuri manga. He likes Yuri manga. And we sort of got a hint of this with the Mother's Rosary arc or the Yuki Asuna arc, where the fact is they really were in a very close together relationship for the most part. And we could probably, the thing is I think he's also wanting to change direction and maybe do more girls well, it's just more anime girls or whatever in his stories. There could be a twofold regard. So I'm not really too concerned. I'm going to be of the more of, I'm going to sit back and watch and see what comes out. If it goes where it's like over dramatic flooded with Yuri stuff with Sword Art Online, then maybe I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to go watch something else. But he's going to do what he's going to do. And that's pretty much all I really got to say to it. As is right now, I am liking what he's got going on for this new season of Sword Art Online. And there's quite a decent amount of female characters that are playing roles. You're getting backstories. They're somewhat well written in my opinion. You're getting an idea. He's improving as a writer and providing us with a decent story. But on the other hand, we do sort of got to keep an eye on the pushes from those political correctness, those SJW types who want to go in and ruin things. Because guess what? Right now, a lot of people are shifting over to anime and manga because comic books and Western cartoons are pretty much crap. The art style is going downhill, the story writing's going downhill, and we're getting better stories out of a lot of anime. Right now, Goblin Slayer, it's a very basic storyline, but very well written. And guess what? People like the hell out of that. Right now, the Rise of the Shield Hero, a really good series, in my opinion. I've watched the 2 episodes. I've read the manga all the way up to what they have presently. It is really good, well written. Everything, for the most part, fits in very well where the characters develop. Things that play out are properly playing out how they should in most regards. You got a guy that's sitting there and he's like, the world's wronged me. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and prove them wrong. I'm gonna fight through this because he pretty much has no choice for the most part. But he's still, except for maybe just lay on the ground and go to sleep and not pester anybody. But he's like, I got a job to do. I'm gonna do it, and that's what we sort of got going on right now. He's got a job. He's got to write this series because it's his main moneymaker. But he's going to shift it in the directions that he thinks is going to work a lot better. Political correctness, I, as I said, I'm 50-50 with this. Anyway, I got to get going. I just wanted to do this quick little rant about this whole thing. I'll have some more stuff coming up a little bit later. You guys have a good day.